I mean, we're launching a whole new business, so we're going to be spending a great deal of money on all of it. The branding, everything. You know, bringing the shows to market, original shows, HBO shows, all the content. It's a huge new business for us.
Now being WarnerMedia and with the collaboration with Xandr, AT&T is now looking to build that platform that we have been talking about for years, and that's what community is.
Hey, it's E.B. Moss, Head of Content Strategy for Media Village. This is episode 35 of Insider Insights, and it was a pretty interesting time on the blue carpet for the WarnerMedia Upfront. There's a little bit of background noise, but I think you'll appreciate what some of my guests had to say. I had a chance to speak with everyone from the president of WarnerMedia Ad Sales to the chairman of WarnerMedia Entertainment, on to some of the cast members and executive producers of Snowpiercer and Miracle Workers. So it's a chock-full episode. Hope you don't mind the crowd noise. It was a rockin' good time at the WarnerMedia Upfront. Here are some insights.
All right, first up on the blue carpet, Donna Speciale. We couldn't start with a better person, the president of WarnerMedia Ad Sales.
Thanks.
So great. So we're back to back with Xandr's new front, or Xandr front, yesterday, and today's upfront for WarnerMedia. A couple of business questions and a couple of softball questions. How's that?
Do it.
All right. So OTT is a big word here today.
Yep.
Here's a hint. This is a softball question.
Okay.
What have you ever done that was too over the top?
We're talking today all about having all of our content on platforms, so we're really, really excited about it. Linear is obviously the place that we get the biggest reach, but now with all the over the top areas, and Kevin's going to be talking about our new platform with SVOD and AVOD. We're thrilled that now our content is resonating with all of our consumers on all platforms.
You have announced a community along with Xandr, a community or a consortium of publishers. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's everything that we've been wanting. I mean, we've been talking about this vision for 5 years now at Turner. Now being WarnerMedia, we now, and with the collaboration with Xandr, AT&T is now looking to build that platform that we have been talking about for years, and that's what community is. Community is going to be bringing not just WarnerMedia, but all publishers, premium. The key to community is premium video, digital in the beginning, but then obviously all the linear, and it's going to be that holistic community with all publishers where buyers and sellers can transact.
So it makes it a little bit easier for someone like you to offer whatever an advertiser needs wherever they want it?
Yeah, I mean, what community also brings that no other platform has is that the community is going to be bringing AT&T data, access to any of the buyers and sellers who want to use that platform.
Great.
That's a huge differential to any other platform.
Now, will podcasting be within community?
You know what? They haven't even mentioned that now, but
why not, right?
Anything's possible.
So I did an interview with Tyler Moody about the WarnerMedia Podcast Network. Are you finding more dollars going to podcasting this year?
We are. I actually this year started a small sales organization to actually just focus on podcasting. It's still a little bit in its infancy stage, as you know, but there's definitely dollars there. The DTC clients, direct-to-consumer clients, utilize podcasting a lot. They kind of start there in that foray. What I also think is interesting with podcasting, it goes back and forth. Sometimes linear programming then pushes into podcasting, but sometimes podcasting starts creative and then it goes into the linear aspect as well. So I love that full funnel execution, the creative aspect of it.
Are you also seeing, though, more performance marketing, advertising on television, or still a lot of brand awareness?
No, this is why I actually think our upfront this year with WarnerMedia is at a pivotal point. We've been waiting 2+ years for this AT&T acquisition, so we're just so thrilled it's finally here, and now we have access to utilizing, it's 170 million consumer touch points that we now have access to with all of our products that we've been kind of building over these years. And now the collaboration with Xandr, because there's extended reach with their products in the addressable space. They've been using the AT&T data, so now clients can come to WarnerMedia with the extension of the addressable area that Xandr has, and it's like a home run.
Here's this year's question. If you were living in like a Friends or a Seinfeld type of apartment, who would you most want to live next door to?
All the women from Claus.
Oh!
They're friggin' badass.
Excellent. I love it.
I'm there.
All right. Donna Speciale, thank you so much.
You have to be pretty smart and pretty funny if you're going to be a correspondent or producer of Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. You'll hear what I mean.
Hi, I'm Mike Rubens. I'm a correspondent and producer for Full Frontal.
I'm Amy Hoggett and I'm a correspondent.
I'm Allana Harkin and I'm a producer and correspondent at the show.
Well, last year I gave you a couple of softball questions and I asked you who you would most like to road trip with. This year, wait for it, I'm going to ask you, of all of the WarnerMedia talent, it could be Adult Swim, it could be Headline News, whatever you want, who, if you were in the cast of Friends, would you most like to live next door to?
Well, I have an answer right away.
I knew you would.
Mine would be Shaq.
Okay.
Because why would you not want to, A, live with him, live next door to him, live within his arms,
yes,
live in his pocket.
Yes.
I feel like he would be very gentle,
yes,
although large. And
Did you hear neighbor, not anything more?
Oh, I would want to live next to Natasha Lyonne because I just feel like it would be wacky.
Yeah.
The Russian doll.
Parties.
Oh yeah, Natasha. Yeah, Russian doll. Yeah.
My answer's really good.
Okay.
Okay. It's Amy Sedaris.
Oh.
Okay. Because her apartment would be incredible. I think she'd be a really good host. Like, I think if you drop round to borrow a cup of sugar, she'd like bake something, you could hang out, and it would look amazing.
Yeah.
She'd be a great neighbor.
So CNN, of course, has all of these really great specials, like 1968 is on right now, and then they do the things on the 80s and the 2000s. If you could pick a decade to go back to and hang out in for like a few months.
Okay, I want to live my life like it's 1978 always. I listen to like 70s soft rock. I could listen to Jerry Rafferty every morning.
You have to have big shoulder pads, though.
Shoulder pads didn't really come in until the 80s.
Okay.
I'm talking like still everybody's end of the sexual revolution.
Yeah, the end of it.
You can hose your children off instead of showering them. You just use a cold hose in the backyard, and nobody like calls Children's Aid.
Wow.
You know, just like a chill way to live life. That's my dream. And you know what? I'm living it.
I was really interested to hear what Tony Goncalves, the CEO of WarnerMedia, had to say, but it turns out that a few years ago, he was really interested in what Jack Myers of Media Village had to say. Listen to the impact that Jack Myers had on him and all about WarnerMedia today.
So WarnerMedia is a portfolio of digital media companies. We exist to serve the 4 billion consumers under the age of 38 that do just about everything differently, including watch content. So what we like to say is we're at the tip of the spear of how young people consume content, what they consume, where they consume it, and obviously how they're willing to pay for it.
Right. Now, I introduced myself as being from Media Village because I said that Jack Myers would hurt me if I didn't stop the guy from Media. He's a big fan of what you're doing, but apparently you've met before.
Well, I'm a big fan of his. We never officially met, but the story goes, I say that Jack marked me. He made a real impression on me. As I was coming up in this industry, I started going to conferences. I really didn't know very much, but I saw Jack at a conference, and I was sort of blown away by the way that he thought, and frankly, what the push that he was making for the future of media and media consumption, all of which we're living, and frankly, what my company essentially represents inside of a large media company like Warner.
Yes, and Media Village was also built on being a community, and now, of course, Xandr has announced community, of which Otter will be a part, so that things can be sold cross-platform more easily, right?
Yeah, we're certainly part of a very large community, which is great. And What's interesting is when I saw the Xandr press release and I saw the name, I sort of stepped back and I said, well, we are community. If you think about the brands that we have enabled over the years, Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, even Fullscreen, which is a talent management company, it is all about ensuring that the fans connect with each other through the content and the stories that we're bringing to them.
Tony, how do you personally consume things like news? Where do you get your news? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you on CNN? Are you just all digital?
Yeah, all of the above. Like I am a perfect pie, if you will. I wake up in the morning, it's on my phone. I drive in to work. I'm listening to CNBC in my car. I tend to get home. I still like my local news. And CNN is typically on before the end of the evening.
All right, that's good because I think Anderson Cooper is behind you, so good answer.
Right, and so you're bumping me for Anderson Cooper is what I'm hearing.
Don't take it personally.
All right.
But Jack, love this interview.
Very nice to meet
Thank you, Tony.
Take care.
Well, it wasn't Anderson Cooper, but it was Bob Greenblatt, the chairman of WarnerMedia Entertainment. I asked him a question about how they're going to market the new business, and then I asked him a couple of softball questions.
Well, I mean, we're launching a whole new business, so we're going to be spending a great deal of money on all of it. I mean, the branding, everything. You know, bringing the shows to market, original shows, HBO shows, all the content. It's a huge new business for us.
OTT is a big word right now, but I'd really like to know what you've done personally that's been considered over the top.
Over the top. Well, I guess the over the top for me were doing the big live musicals at NBC. That was over the top.
That is over the top.
Jesus Christ Superstar was pretty over the top, I have to say. I wish it was over the top, literally, but it was a big deal. We had a lot of fun with that.
And so what's been over the top in your professional career? What's been a great experience for you?
Well, I've had so many over the years. I probably go back to 20 years ago when I produced 6 Feet Under for HBO. It was really an extraordinary experience. And, you know, I've had great experiences at Showtime and NBC, but there'll always be a place in my heart for 6 Feet Under.
Now, if you were living the life of Friends or Seinfeld right now, who of the WarnerMedia talent would you most love to have living next door to you?
Well, I love all those friends. I mean, I love Jerry. Jerry actually lives at the end of my street here in New York, so I call Jerry a friend. But it'd be great to have the friends living next door. They're all really rich,
what
right?
What about the Impractical Jokers?
Well, I'd rather have the friends.
When you're on the arrivals carpet, you're back to back and side by side with all of the press, with the flashbulbs popping and the microphones in the faces. And one of the guys next to my side was fellow journalist Simon Applebaum, also from Media Village. He was able to grab a couple of interviews, and I put my mic right over there. So on a more serious note, he asked star of Snowpiercer, Mickey Sumner, about what the show meant in terms of environment and social currency today.
And I think it's talking about very real things that we're dealing with right now, and that as we continue down this track of climate change and treating our planet so badly, we are sort of sadly moving closer and closer to it as a reality. And I think Graham has written a show that is touching on the way humans treat each other, on the gap between the very wealthy and the very poor, and how basically we need to start coming together as a community in order to survive. And I think the show's really exploring humanity.
There was really no one better to ask about the making of Snowpiercer than its EP and showrunner, Graham Manson, and that's exactly who Simon grabbed next.
It's an electric cast led by Jennifer and David, and they're at opposite ends of the train, and it's a really great thing for us. It's very rewarding.
What decision you made about the direction you went with the show?
It's more of a balanced approach. It's trying to sustain all these characters in each of these storylines, in a balanced approach to the season, rather than sort of an episodic character focus on one character for an episode. it's not like that. It's the real challenge for me was big cast. Everybody needs their due. The actors really made use of their time on screen. Everybody gets a little story. Everybody gets their time, and everybody chewed it up.
Nikki was just here, and she said that climate change was going to be one of the issues, but also diversity. How do we get along? How do different societies operate with each other or operate within themselves? What kind of social issues or social messages do you explore in the series?
I mean, they're very contemporary. It is a story of class, and it really deals with a lot of issues of migration, immigration, detention, and at the bottom of it all is one of the great sort of problems of our time is fear of the other, and that is how power is wielded in this world and on the train. You keep people divided, and David is a great unifier.
How diverse, by the way, was your writing team, your directing team on the show, given the cast is also very diverse?
Yeah, we tried really hard to have a very diverse writers' room, as well as directors behind the camera, as well as crew, and I think we did a good job to do that. Yeah.
Last year on the blue carpet, I spoke to Daniel Radcliffe and a couple of other members of the cast of Miracle Workers as it was going into its first season. And now that they're going into the second season, some things have changed, which they will talk about. And they also invoke the name of Kevin Riley, who is also going into sort of a new season with his recent promotion. So here are the cast of Miracle Workers to bring it home from the blue carpet of the WarnerMedia Upfront.
Well, next up on the blue carpet at WarnerMedia Upfront is a couple of members from the show Miracle Workers, which I'm really excited is going into its second season, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Excellent. Will you introduce yourself so I don't butcher it?
Yes, I'm Geraldine Viswanathan.
I'm Karan Soni.
So you guys are basically helping to save the world.
Yep.
Yes, and then we're also on a TV show, yeah.
Wait, I love that. That's really good.
Thank
you.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
I love
it. You just made my podcast. That was excellent.
Totally the
All right. So a couple of softball questions for you. Who would you have as your personal right hand? Because I know that you rely, on the help of others in Miracle Workers. So who would help you achieve better things in your life?
I'll just say Kevin Riley, who's the head of TBS. Because,
way to suck up.
There we go. I mean, he seems like he can multitask like no other to manage all these TV portfolio channels at the same time. My gosh.
Yes. He is a great human being.
Yeah, so there we go.
I'm also going to go with Kevin Riley.
So I have a question for you on the slightly more business side of things. How do you consume news these days? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you listen to CNN? You don't have to suck up to Kevin Riley with this answer.
I through Twitter, really. It's like what I just follow a bunch of stuff on Twitter and I'll read articles and stuff through there, yeah.
Wow.
I read the New York Times on my laptop and sometimes podcasts.
Yeah.
But and then Twitter, a mix of mostly like online.
Tell us a little bit about Miracle Workers and your experience with it and what's coming up that you're allowed to talk about.
Yeah, Miracle Workers is an anthology show, so each season there's a story that begins and ends with the season, which is really exciting. So for a half hour, it's a pretty serialized show. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you get like serialized storytelling, but it's also very funny. And so the first season was set in heaven, and we played angels, and now the next season is going to be set in the Dark Ages. And so we're going to play completely new characters, so it's really exciting for all of us. We have no idea what we're doing, and potentially going to shoot in Europe, so that's really exciting too. Yeah.
And when you say the Dark Ages, you're not saying AKA 2019.
No. The like OG, the OG Dark Ages, not the new stuff. You do get your news
from Twitter, so.
Yes, I know. Oh yes, I know.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us at Insider Insights.
Thanks for listening to Insider Insights from Media Village. I'm E.B. Moss. Rate, review, subscribe on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. And for a longer transcript of this show and more insights and thought leadership on media marketing and advertising, go to MediaVillage.com.